Sometimes I wonder if I was born in the wrong century. Okay, I know a lot of you do too. In fact, don't you feel like you should just be able to jump into a pond and come up in 1814? Tell me the truth. Don't you long for those Sunday evenings when you can just be lost in that world, or go out to Outlander and fall in the arms of Jamie Fraser? I knew it. I knew I wasn't the only one. I mean, what would it really be like to live in the 1800s? It was such a different experience than today. They didn't have the smartphones and the internet and the computers. Shoot, they didn't even have electricity. People relied on candles for all their light, and they sat by fires for all their heat. They had horse-drawn carriages for transportation. Oh, that sounds so romantic. And they didn't sit around scrolling through social media when they got together. They laughed and they told stories and they talked and they bonded. The men got together in taverns and had drinks and laughed and smoked and had such a good time, while the women got together in their parlors and dined with tea and crumpets. Do you even know what crumpets are? I don't. The only way they could communicate to people that were far away was through letter writing. Oh, so romantic. I bet you they didn't even have to use stamps. They just gave the letter to someone and somehow it miraculously appeared across the world, horse-drawn express, or maybe through the ocean. Then I think about the fashion. Women wore those elegant dresses with corsets, and men in tails. What more can we say? Society had strict rules of etiquette and manners. Now, I'm not so sure I would have liked that. Also, I would have been one of those worthless women who would have had to have been born into money and pampered and taken care of, and not one of those women who had to take care of everybody else. I would not be able to be the woman who worked hard and who cooked from sunup till sundown. It just wouldn't have worked for me. And you know what else? Medical care was terrible back then. If I even had survived into adulthood, I wouldn't have made it very far. I just know it because I've had some really great medical interventions that have saved my life to this point. So while it looks so wonderful and good, I'm not sure. Okay, so I make my house feel old. So why can't I just dress up like days of old and just pretend that we really live in the 17th century? After all, everything around me tells me that we do, except for the dinging of my phone. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to dress up with my husband and just pretend? We could sit by the fire and sit by candlelight. He could read to me. I don't really like it when he reads to me. I could do some stitching, which I never do, by the way, and we could cook by the fireplace and make all kinds of wonderful meals. I mean, wouldn't that be wonderful? If any of you have hung around long enough, you know me and cooking. Maybe I could go back to that time in a way, in a manner, and enjoy just exactly what they did. So one evening as the owls came out to hoo-hoo in the sunset, we started our little experiment. Oh, and it was magical, just like the fireflies at night in the summer. Okay, no, I didn't do any cross stitching either. Okay, granted, Dewey was a little confused, but he's always there for a party. And Tom, well, he does know how to pontificate well. He had a soup brewing on the fire, a wonderful beef stew, and let me tell you, it tasted terrible. But it was really fun to pretend we were enjoying each other's company. We could really get into that part. I really think sitting by candlelight brings in some kind of hidden magic. And well, turning off the TV to read is always a really good idea. And how often do we really sit together and bond as a couple? Not at dinner, not in front of the TV or the computer when we work. Taking time to get to know each other and enjoy each other's company, despite all the other things that are going on around you, that's always a win-win in my book. Winter can be brutal. It just brings out the worst in us. It's that cold, and it's the lack of sunlight. It can just make you just downright depressed. Remember those days of candlelight dinner when you were wined and dined and felt so loved and just like everything was just going to be okay. After all, everybody needs connection. We all need to be cuddled and touched and loved and heard and understood. But I don't think we have to go back to the 1800s to get that sense of community. I think we can find it right here. I mean, I don't want to trade in my medical care, and I really don't want to get rid of my computer or my phone. And while sitting around a fire can be a really nice time to bond and talk, and it's so special, I do really like to watch TV. But isn't real love better than TV love, after all? Even though TV love is perfect. Isn't it a good idea just to do the real thing and really cook on the fire, even if the real thing wasn't quite edible? Hey, you can always wash it down with some brew, but no, not from there. Ugh. But I can sit here in my 17th century house in my black leggings and my Birkenstocks and be perfectly comfortable, not having to get up, not having to eat the food on the fire, but knowing that if it's really bad, I could always order out. And yeah, while a real relationship in real life isn't always as perfect as the movies, it is real. And he may be a dope sometimes, but he's my dope.